He's got an ultimate face. Good morning, Mr. Mark Dalby. How are you?
Good morning. I'm hoping the audio's sweet.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Check,
Yeah,
baby,
good.
check, baby. 1, 2. It's all good. Got the Bluetooth earphones in because you're on the go.
That's right. I'm technologically unwired, I suppose.
Just on the go. You're in the office. I don't want to do too many Office UK quotes, but in the office, he holds a phone up in his car because he thinks that's good. But he's actually officeless. He's jobless, pretty much. Dalby, so good to have you. So good to have you. What have you been doing? How does this day find you today?
Well, let me preface this interview.
Yeah, because I forgot to, so you do it better. Go.
No. It's not related to anything that this interview is about. But there's one night in the lunar cycle that I don't sleep. I lie there awake. Guess what? It was last night. So
Cool.
I've had like 15 minutes sleep, maybe.
How are you?
Yeah, so I'll be creative, that's for sure.
I'll let you know if you're not talking or anything like that. I'll go, Mark, speak now. It's your turn. Are you doing well so far? You're doing well so far. How was your house move?
I'm sitting amongst boxes. I've got my computer resting on a box of food at the moment, actually. So I literally, my house is packed up 4 days too early and I'm sitting on a chair surrounded by boxes, which is fine. It's fine. I like limbo.
I know that's what being a man's about, isn't it? Just doing, just getting on with it, mate. Stop complaining, stuff it.
Yeah, it sure is. On the surface, at least. When we're just crying inside.
Oh, it's so good, so good. Jano's excited. Everyone's excited on the chat line. You won't see the chat line, so I find
I imagine that'd be distracting.
It's distracting. You'll sit there and read them, and I will curate the questions. Thank you.
Of course.
Hey, we talk about men's health. I am right in saying you are a man. You are
correct.
Into masculinity. You are interested in it. Have you always been interested in it, or is it a response to your own lack of interest in it?
The latter. I've always been interested in philosophy and things outside of myself, and that only got me so far. And then I found myself at rock bottom, as we tend to. Hopefully the rockest of my rock bottoms, but then that made me look inward, and that was somewhat ugly. So How do you know your rock bottom's your rock bottom? What do you call rock bottom? Yeah, I was unhappy. I had insomnia. I partied a lot to overcome social anxiety. And it really hit rock bottom when I started hurting good people that were good people. They were good people, and I was losing friends because of my behavior. And then there was just this moment where I'm like, what are you doing?
Have you always been a bit of a, what do you like, self-helper? Like, don't ask anyone else.
Yeah.
I've got this.
Very much.
I've got this. I'll look after this. Go close the doors. I'll just come out when I'm ready.
Yeah. And that used to be subconscious. Unconscious, I would say.
Yeah. You don't know you're doing it.
Yeah. But now I know to ask for help, but there are times when I still don't, because I like the challenge of seeing if I can figure it out for myself. And if I can't, then I ask. It's more of like self-exploration that I won't ask for help these days.
Yeah, you get a little bit addicted to the, hey, leave this to me. I want to work on this puzzle myself, and you just get interested in the puzzle pieces. And this is so fun.
Yeah, that keeps me going. It absolutely keeps me going. It's like That's my hobby.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can fix myself.
Yeah. Crazy, but as much as we're saying that must be so fun, because we all like a bit of a project, there's times where you don't have all the pieces and you need help.
Yes.
Yeah. What are some moments where you realised that you can't do it on your own, and you started? Where do you go? Who do you go to? Family and friends? Do you go to someone outside of your personal network? Because both of them are daunting, but some of them are more comfortable than others because of your relationships with your. Sometimes that could be the pressure, is that the relationship that you've got with your close family and friends is a trick, or it's you actually don't. I haven't been talking to you, but I'll go talk to old mate in Queensland on a 2-day retreat.
Disconnect. Well, there's a bit of both of those things. So I've always spoken to my dad. We get very philosophical and
cool.
real worldy, and laugh at the things that I say now. That it's like I'll start a conversation with, "This is going to be so ironic that I'm talking to you about this, but how annoying are kids when they do do this?" So I have my dad, and then I also have he's now a really good friend of mine. He works a lot with men doing somatic release through breath work, trauma release, anger, shame, guilt. He does a lot of that work with groups of men through like 8-week courses, 7-day immersive retreats, to the point where I support on those now, which is just, it's the most powerful work I've ever seen for men by a long shot.
Wow.
Yeah. It is literally life-changing over a 7-day period.
I'm guessing you went, all right, I'm going to give this a go first.
Mm-hmm.
What was your reason to? Was that the rock bottom part, or is it later?
It was later. I'd come out of rock bottom and done some work, but I could still see old habits and old patterns playing out, and they weren't helping my relationship. And I was unaware of these patterns. And I went to, it's called Soul Flight. So you drink CACAO, which just makes you feel like you're wrapped up in a hug. And then he plays didgeridoo. He's a loop artist. He does singing. And then he runs you through this thing at the end of the ceremony where he asks you to go back to the earliest memory of yourself. And for some people, that's like teenage years. For me, I'm like 2 years old in corduroy overalls and a blue skivvy, right? So I remember it clearly.
You don't forget those clothing outfits.
Yeah, well, I like clothing, especially corduroy overalls, still to this day. And he asks you to have a conversation with yourself at your youngest age, and I just bawled my eyes out. He says, like, tell yourself that you love yourself. Tell yourself that, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. And you're talking to yourself from your earliest memory. And then you just feel this love heaped on yourself, and it's like that then becomes a whole part of your life journey from your earliest memory. I know I've gone a little bit deep here.
Yes, mate, Deep Dalby, Mark Deep Dalby, that's your name.
But that cracked me open. Like, I bawled my eyes out in a room full of strangers, which is not a masculine thing to do. But I just cried for like the first time in, 15 years, I guess.
Had you ever cried in front of your dad?
No, but Dad had cried in front of me. I guess that was a little bit of a... I'm
curious. You've got such an open friendship with your dad from a verbal point of view.
Mm.
Crying is a really important part of a process. super important.
Oh, yeah.
And we ignore it as being important. Like, I think we detach it from being, we detach it from being important. We go, it's all right, I'll cry later.
Yes.
But I'll talk about, I know I'm feeling all these things, but I'll just cry later, or I'll do something else to out of it. Crying's so important. Do you think, where did you get detached from your 2-year-old self, or from your masculinity, as you'd say it? Well, you're born in. You're born into it. Are we born into it in Australia? I mean, there's lots of ways you can look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Conditioning from like environmental conditioning is huge. I mean, that's how we learn everything from a biological and behavioral level. We learn from our environment. And that's like, you might have cried when you were in grade 2 and someone's laughed at you and you're just like, oh, shut that down.
Yeah, totally.
So you attach like shame and embarrassment to crying, the most powerful release mechanism that we have, and you shut it down because you're embarrassed about it. And then that goes into your subconscious. So it's not like you are even aware that you're shutting down the crying.
And it's funny because people don't know. I think there's two angles to look at this. One, you don't know whether it's right to cry because you feel a bit like, oh, here we go, I'm trying to make a scene. But then also people don't know how to respond to your cry. Like,
no.
Do you notice that? Like, you cry and people go, oh, you okay? Go, that's the wrong one. It's not that version of crying. But we always think, what's wrong? It could be a range of different things. Did you feel that when you were crying in front of these strangers after being high on Milos? That's what you said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At your Milo party. You had your Milo party.
Yeah,
No.
I had my Milo
it's
party.
CACAO. I don't want to pay you out. I'm too close.
No,
too friendly. Back to interview mode. No. No, but you know, what did crying do?
Crying,
for you?
The way I've always described it is it cracked my heart open. Like I'd shut my heart down, and I know I'd shut my heart down because I can still do it now. Like it pops up every now and then. It's just like, don't be weak. Like, do not be weak. It is that internal talk, which is what I'm currently working on at the moment, is being kinder with my internal talk. And it just made me feel loved. It made me feel loved, like unconditionally and deeply. So it was a weird soup of tears that was love-filled and sadness, but it was like letting the sadness out and allowing room for love to come in.
It's interesting. Talk about your retreats to Indo.
Yeah.
To Bali. That was doing something, probably another step on from doing these other kind of mini retreats to going calling everyone to go overseas and do something.
Yeah.
What got you interested in the Balinese culture and other than the cheap flights from Perth?
Well, that basically
it was easy to go there than Cairns.
Oh, yeah.
No, the Indo's beautiful.
It's quicker to go to Bali than it is to go to Melbourne.
Yeah. No, Balinese people are beautiful. What resonated with you to go there?
Well, if I'm honest, I've only ever been there for holidays to get tattoos and drink beer. And it was nice to go there with my mate Tim, so all of those masculine things that Aussies tend to do in Bali, which is horrific, is the only way to say it, like just all the grossness. And we went to North Bali, so not particularly commercialized.
Are you talking Ubud or further?
Further, yeah.
Right.
Like the North Coast. I can never remember what it's called, but it's like black volcanic beaches. And
wow.
He'd book out the whole resort. So he'd book the whole resort out and there would just be 15, 20 men there for 7 days just working on themselves in the deepest ways. and like voicing sadness and voicing shame and voicing all of these things that they've never told anyone before, and they've just been holding on to them. And you can see these guys, they come in and they're all like, they're hunched over, and they're just, they look like if you poke them, they just explode with rage, which is a side effect of that. And by the end of it, they're all like, they're sitting up tall, and their faces are changing, and they're completely different men.
Far out. So much to unpack. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Call it wrong. Why are we in the state that we're in from your view? You talk about Aussie.
Man.
What's Aussie? What's Aussie about tough guy? What where's it what's the history? Aside from trying to think of your own life history, just being 40-something years old and digging back to 2-year-old, but then you say, well, you're born into it, it's culturally around. Then how far do you go back to call it this Aussie? Why is it Australian?
Well, it's not particularly Aussie. Like, you look at the Irish.
Totally.
I think like the Irish get drunk and they fight, and they're abusive. I'm not like I'm not calling out the Irish, but that's what I've got a lot of Irish mates, and that's what they have left Ireland because it's super toxic. So, and a lot of Australians come from that European background. And from a historical point of view, we've always been in survival mode. We've been in survival mode the whole time. Like, you come to Australia as an immigrant and you're already on the back foot, and you're just surviving. You got to make your way. You've got to work. And when you're in survival mode, you're not in a loving mode. You're not. Yes, you care for your family, but it's deeply. It's just a biological thing. It's not based in love.
You see it a lot in when you talk about toxic masculinity that affects a family, and you've been a family man for a long time. Men calling it a day on that you've done enough of going out early in the morning and going to work to build the house. Like, do you think that could be looked upon more seriously? Go, hey, you don't need to go to work anymore. Being a dad isn't going to work and coming home and detaching and not talking to your kids. Or we had a chat yesterday to Alan, and he said that he was really positive about what he saw in men, in particular ones that he was dealing with, was people are now softening a bit in that world of going, I need to spend time with my kids. I need to hold my boy's hand. I need to ask how he's doing.
Yeah.
Do you see the landscape looking positive from that point of view, undoing that really old, archaic, toxic masculine history?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I stayed in the darkness there for a bit, didn't I? But a good interview will always turn that around. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's a huge shift. I've got a friend who has a podcast called the Present Father Podcast or something like that.
Yes.
And he excuse me, he coaches men on how to run their life so that they can be around for their family. And there is that happening, especially with people being able to work from home, women and men both being able to work now, so there can be shit like those traditional roles certainly aren't the norm now. And I work FIFO, so it's even changing up there.
Yes.
And that's typically it has been known as a rough environment, but it just isn't anymore. Like, I think it's really important that gets out there, that FIFO workers aren't all just drunk or cashed up bogans, It's very, very different to that. In fact, the cashed up bogan would be almost on the outside now to a degree.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. It's really good.
Have you always felt different? I've viewed you as different when you talk about these blokey people. We haven't got too many blokes in our little world that we hung out with growing up. Like, we're all kind of semi-sensitive. We weren't punching on with each other. We weren't going, oh, shut up, toughen up, you idiot. You know, we didn't hang around footy clubs as much as most people. Have you felt different whenever you walk into FIFO situations, men's group outings and stuff? Have you always felt just a little bit like different in terms of masculinity?
Yeah, absolutely.
How have you dealt with that?
One trait that I really prize myself on is being genuine, despite what anyone thinks of me. So if you don't like me, I don't care. Like, it's not, I don't not like you. I just don't care what you think of me because I'm pretty stoked with who I am.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
And that is really important, especially in the FIFO world.
Yeah.
And so what I've found is that when I step into the FIFO world, my the word is feminine. My feminine side, because we've all got masculine and feminine traits, my feminine is highlighted to myself, or my softness is highlighted to other people, because I don't just want to talk about burnouts and drinking beer.
Yeah. And
then in the men's space, I find that my masculine shines through more.
Yeah.
Because the masculine traits of being calm and being grounded and being able to hold a space for people to go through process is more needed in that moment.
And it probably, it actually, let's be really honest here. Most guys, when they're not in a group environment, the ones that we're talking about, aren't the same. So even though their response is, look at him, yeah, mate, what, you got to go home? You got to go home early, do you, mate? You haven't got that sorted, do you, or something? You're just like, and every other guy's probably cringing instantly, doesn't say anything to go, shut up, idiot. Like, he's in a happy relationship, you dog.
Yeah.
But they don't say
it. And it actually takes like one person, it leads on to what he's saying. If I had to go home, not even had to go home early, I was going home early. Oh, you got to go home to the misso. Just go, yeah, I do.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Like, she's my wife's at home. I love hanging out with her.
No.
Have you seen her? And then they just go, it's...
Yep.
He actually wants to go home to his wife. So just with that one comment, they go, oh, yeah, cool. Maybe I won't call her the ball and chain.
Maybe I won't invite Mark to anything ever again.
Maybe I won't, make the guy that makes me feel bad about myself.
He's going to challenge myself.
Because you should feel bad about yourself.
It's true. It's true. And I think I wanted to touch on this sooner or later through this week, is the very real things that men face just walking around on the earth on a daily, hourly thing, going to the pub, or I go to the fishing pier, and I just even thought last night, because I'm being super reflective of what are men talking about. Everyone's talking about the biggest fish they caught. Mate, you don't know. Everyone's trying to one-up each other. No one's speaking in a nice, gentle a boy's voice. And I've got Lockie there going in the middle of the pier going, hey, Troy, I just caught the biggest fish, and I caught it this way. And for a split second after his long description of Wade, there was the most talking on the pier all night. This little 7-year-old kid. How am I going to respond?
Trying to connect.
Ha, mate, chuck it back in there. I was almost going to say something that would have been, it felt slightly pressured to be open with my kid. But I had said, mate, that is so cool. And I just realised while I was saying it, I reckon it's the first time any genuine conversation like that's happened on a pier. And and I'm sure that's understandable, but I don't think other people other than men understand that there is a pressure of, like, and it catches up, or it's tiring. There's
one of my favorite sayings is, there's things you know. There's things you don't know. And then there's things that you don't know. It's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah.
But a lot of men fit in that last period. They don't know what they don't know. They're just acting this way. And because of the way society's structured, they're still acting like boys. That's what they're doing. My dad has $500 in his wallet and 7 guns at home, like that primary school stuff. And then it's like, biggest fish, my footy team, beat your footy team. That's all they've ever done, and no one's ever shown them anything more than that. Like, the very first question would be, why does it matter that your dad has more money than my dad? What are you proving? Not to a child, to a man, but that kind of, why are you saying what you're saying? And even that generally stumps the majority of men.
I know.
Why did you just say that? Why do you feel that way? And they're just like, what do you mean? Well, my dad said it and my granddad said it. I'm just like, cool, that's not a good answer. Let's look at why he's saying it. And they're completely unaware.
Yeah. Do you think the same about, what do you think about Reveds? You got a few Reveds over in the West. You'd have a bit of a Geelong, long Eastern Beach promenade vibe. I've seen it in the West.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same
and
dudes,
my son
Rev
goes to those car meets every Thursday. I've got a V8. I've got my granddad's V8 Ute, so I understand the rev heads a little bit.
Are you revving because because of a masculine deficiency? What's the revving?
I think for me personally, I've thought about this long and hard, not surprisingly. I don't know what it is about the sound of a V8 revving its guts out, but it's just the most amazing sound.
Why aren't there ladies revving down the street in their Tirana, in their souped up Tirana?
I work in mining, so there are definitely women that do that.
You know what I'm getting at. You know what I mean?
I know what you're getting at.
There is a natural attraction to it, an inherent attraction, natural attraction.
It's power, I think, and it's undefined power. So it's a quick and easy way for me to go, look at me, I'm the best now. I'm the top of the pack here.
And it's okay to have these feelings?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Because that is actually a healthy outlet. Like probably not burnouts in an intersection, or having healthy outlets, like doing burnout comps and actually racing cars on a racetrack is a really good outlet for all of that power that we have inside us.
I am talking about the revving up Maribel Street or something like that, like those guys.
It's not.
It's like shush. I don't get why you're doing it.
It's just a release. Yep. It's a release of pent up, usually aggression in men.
I got some questions coming in. One's from Jano. Matt Barkley was also here. Morning, gentlemen. Great to see. Shelley, men carry on so much from their fathers and those before them. It's a beautiful thing to see generational change. It's difficult as well. I think some men also see their sons change and wish they could have done the same. Yeah, that's probably a guaranteed scenario when the kid goes, I don't want to be like my dad, and the dad's still around. It's a big task. I'm sure there's some friction there, hopefully before.
I think
it's too late.
We're in this day and age where the father will recognise, I don't want my son to be like I have been.
Oh, definitely.
And then they get to change from there. And I'm in that situation, like my son's 18.
Right.
And I watched a video of me when I was 11 that my papa took of me. I was just talking about jumping my bike off a ramp. I was 11 years old and I watched it and had to do a double take because I thought it was Jordan.
Yeah.
The mannerisms, the inflections in the voice. And I'm looking going, if he speaks like that now, he wasn't around when I was 11. that's been passed down. Like those mannerisms have been passed down through my DNA. What else? What are the traumas have been passed through my DNA to him?
So you super on the, I was going to ask you, your relationship with Jordan, what's it like?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
You seem like have you ever had any real troubles like what you're talking about? Like, hey, don't do that, buddy. And it seems like you've always been open with your kids.
Yeah, very open.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always had really good relationship with the kids, and it's based on educating yourself. So if they want to do something, educate yourself on it. And if you really want to do it, then make it happen. I'll be there financially, but you take all the steps to get you where you want to go. So they have this autonomy to a degree. And then I do come with the advice because that's who I am. I'm like, hey, actually, listen, I know better and I can't help myself.
Mark,
I don't want them to make the mistakes I've made.
I want to be super encouraging. I'm sure, I know you would have heard this many times, but you are a good dad, and you're definitely you're the metro dad. You're a metro dad. You know, you are a metro dad. So it's cool that you're still so concerned about your inner health. But credit to you for being healthy enough to bring up such great kids. I don't know them, but I've seen them at the start of their life, and I just know that like to have a dad like you would be so fun because you're a good open communicator and you're a hugger. Like you're a toucher. You hug and squeeze in that big widest. You got aeroplane shoulders.
My wingy shoulders.
You can fit two people. It's a double bed in between your shoulders.
My son's shoulders are broader than mine.
It's not possible. Go get him checked out.
He seriously, I don't know the angles, but like he's broader. He's a monster.
Wow. Hey, tell us about Approachable, little birdie. Little birdie wants to egg
cool. So Approachable is an idea I had. We won't go into the backstory because I'm conscious of time, but right. I want to start a clothing brand. All right. I want to start a clothing brand that it's about bringing more awareness to your life in general. So the word approachable will be on the front of the t-shirts initially. It'll just say approachable. And if you see someone with an approachable t-shirt on, all you have to do is like make eye contact, say, hey, acknowledge their existence. Don't ignore them. Because what I've found is if you look at somebody in the shops and like you can be intense because they won't be being intense. They put a lot of energy into not looking at you. You can feel them purposely not looking at you. They'll give you a quick look up and down because judging people's easy.
And then look at the
and then they'll avoid you.
And then look at the latest mailways. This is really interesting.
Yeah, that's it. Or they'll look the other way and just go, that's a wall. What I see you doing is just not. Yeah, that. Exactly that.
It's always the circle, the arch.
Yeah.
Back to the start.
Yeah.
Why are we doing it?
That was perfect. That's exactly what they
do.
I
do it. I see someone I know and go, oh, yeah, it's an interesting wall.
I don't want to talk to them right now. Yeah. So I want people to do that first, look up and down, see approachable and go, oh, this person is like me. Like we've got this connection because...
They're up for it.
Yeah. And we all are. If someone came up and goes, oh, excuse me, you're not going to ignore them. It's like once you make contact, there's something there.
Bit of a conversation starter, T.
It is a conversation starter. And that's one part of it. So I source them, they're organic, sustainable. Everyone along the supply chain from the farmer through to me makes a living wage off of the t-shirt. And then on top of that, it's the colors of the t-shirt. So certain colors make us feel certain ways. Green calms us down. Red makes us feel confident, or you look at somebody and go, they've got it together. Black is self-protection. You'll see a lot of people wear black, and this is an unconscious thing, but black is self-protection. So when you're wearing black, you don't want anyone to come near you. But then the idea is that I could have a black t-shirt and then have pink approachable across the front, and pink is self-love.
Oh yeah.
So, hey, everyone, just feeling fragile. I'm okay. I love myself, but can you just give me my space?
Yeah, it's mostly black. I've got on. Just don't.
Yeah.
It's mostly.
Yeah. So mostly avoid me, but know that I'm okay.
If you look closely, I might have a speck of time for you.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
just a nod.
Interesting.
Just a quick "I love you, stranger."
Yeah, I like it. It's weird. I actually were thinking along these lines of just a bit of a, traffic light kind of vibe and some clothing that I want to do. It's very cool. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. It's very forced. Like it's going to be obvious. But that's
correct.
That's what it's gotten to.
Yeah,
because nothing.
But and if you're not feeling approachable that day, don't wear the t-shirt.
What if
or do wear the t-shirt and see what happens.
What if you got the black t-shirt on and it's got a little bit of pink writing on it, and your mood changes like halfway to the post office, and you're in the post office?
Well, it's not that powerful.
Oh no! I've got the wrong one on. Reverse it to the bright orange or something. But reverse it.
Yeah.
Flip it. Go, guys. I just got to get changed. I got it. Just give me a sec. Bang! Come at me.
Well, that'd be good for business.
As long as you got a good.
But I'm hoping that people aren't that self-conscious, although I know they are. Damn it, Troy! You found a hole in my business plan.
No. Hey, nothing wrong with reversible. Anything from the 90s or 80s, I am down for. Hypercolor, flip it, reverse it, pop balls, all that jazz.
Yeah, slappy hands.
Hey, Dalby, I really was thankful that you said said yes to this interview, because I didn't want to go all down the path of people that are studying men's health, and you're just a real man. It's refreshing, super refreshing. When we think of men and masculinity, how you still got daily things that you do to work on in terms of men's health, aside from getting sleep? I breathe daily. Like, I do breath that's connected to my body, because that's one thing that it's a really good starting point, actually, to get someone sit down 5 minutes, go just sit there and breathe into your belly, like breathe deep into your belly. And you get them to do some rounds of breath, and they come out of it and they're just like, that is the first time in my life that I've actually connected to my body. So what sort of mind state are you going to be in if you're not even connected to your own body? Yeah.
Something as simple as breathing. So,
and I think men carry a lot of stress. Do you find in their chest or in their shoulders? Like you know,
the chest is grief, sadness. Yeah, and we do, like, men's thing is anger, but anger is one of the symptoms of sadness. And we shallow breathe. We breathe from like here up.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It feels amazing when I do it quite often around the house. I can feel that I haven't breathed into my part of my chest, just because it's getting tight. You just do it, you go, and it just feels amazing. Physically, it feels amazing. But
yeah, you get into a state of euphoria if you do it for 15 minutes, and I guarantee that, like, one of the most common things is people say, I have never felt this good, just from breathing. And people like get on the drugs, get on the booze, other externally source their pleasure or their reprieve from feeling a certain way, and all you've got to do is just sit there and breathe into your own body. Just breathe into your own body. Like, you're coming home, it's you, and you understand yourself, and so you welcome yourself back into your body.
Have we got an expectation on when to see these approachable tees, these reversible hypercolor t-shirts that you talk about?
I wanted them for July, but we're probably looking at August now. There's been a delay thanks to COVID.
Yep.
COVID seems like a good thing to blame for everything. But it's taking a little bit longer than I wanted, and I want to get it right. So, yes. Like August.
We'll be,
I would suggest.
Let us know, let the RGR family know when you're ready to launch, and we'd love to have you back on and plug the tea, and I wouldn't mind decking myself out in one as I roam around St. Leonard's fishing pier.
Cool.
I might be the only one, but hopefully...
For now.
Yeah, exactly.
For now.
Hey,
it'll make you go and talk to them about other stuff than their fish.
What's that? You want to know what approachable means? Well, let me settle. Let me settle. I'm glad you didn't ask, because I want to.
Yeah.
I'm just there's the annoying approachable guys again. Seventh Day Adventists coming to talk to us. Stop not trying to fish and stay quiet.
We're not coming here anymore.
The chatter guys on the pier again. Dalby, get some rest. No sleep's not always fun. Are you going to be functional? Do you just barge on? There's probably many people that deal with insomnia or lack of sleep. Are you going to barge on and unravel the boxes, or just get some sleep?
I'm going to try and get some sleep because it's still pitch black here.
Oh, good. Turn it all off and...
Yeah, so I'll try and get some sleep. But once the sun hits my eyes, that's me for the day. Like, I'm up and delirious and having a ball generally.
Yeah, good. Great to hear. It's excellent. Hey, give us I'm putting you on the spot. You got another song to... What's an outro song? What's a good outro song for you?
Okay.
To kick into the day. I love that Malibu, man. I love Dan Orbeck. He's got really good stuff.
Good. The Black Keys are awesome. I'm just going to find a song.
Hey, great to see. While Mark's looking for some music, thanks everyone for checking in with Mark and having a chat or listening to him. Great conversation started to share the feels. Great idea. Yeah, it is a great idea. Jano, I love you, cuz. Squiz, I'm out, guys. Awesome guest and well done, and best wishes to Marky. It's lovely. Just wondering if any of the RGR listeners. Hey, and Squiz, thanks for alerting us to a Netflix show called The Circuit. Has anyone watched it? It's with actor Aaron Pedersen, Aboriginal fella.
Oh, cool.
Such an awesome series set in remote communities in Broome. I've seen one with him and he's a cop or something, but I don't know if it's the same one. Have a watch in your spare time. Informative, sad, funny, and very, very real viewing. Go, Dalby, what's the song?
It's Everything Dies by Mariachi El Bronx.
Mariachi, what? It is too. Before I play it, I've got to press stop record, because every time I play music, the YouTube upload gets copyright blame. So, but you can stick around and listen to the track. Dalby, you're a very beautiful man. I love you.
You are. I love you.
Thank
you so much. This is really good.
Yeah, good. Thanks for stopping in.
No worries.
I'll speak to you soon.